Warning. The following podcast contains explicit language, honest opinions and a sense of humor. Welcome to the Brothers Take.
Fuck, I'm not wearing well.
Like, wow. How prepared are you for this episode, Eric?
I'm pretty prepared, man. I seen, actually, no, I'll leave it for the episode. Oh, we're on the episode. Hello, welcome to...
Actually,
We're recording.
Yeah, you might as well just go ahead, Eric. Give it a whirl there.
Oh, I'm shy. I'm camera shy now.
Camera shy now. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our podcast. I am Chris, joined by my brothers Adam and Eric. Hey.
Oh.
And we are back in the room, not to talk about video games this time, because this is one of our bonus segments. And sometimes in our bonus segments, sometimes they're video game related, and sometimes they're related around our other hobbies and interests. We've talked about a couple of movies before, but we are also huge fans of music. And to mark the 20th anniversary of Hybrid Theory, Linkin Park's first studio album, we are going to be doing a whole bonus on Hybrid Theory and Linkin Park, talking about maybe our first experiences of listening to Linkin Park. Sorry, if you're listening on audio, you have no idea that me and Adam just showed off our t-shirts. But yeah, we're going to be talking about maybe the first time we ever heard a song from Linkin Park, what we think about Linkin Park as a whole, and just sort of celebrating Hybrid Theory. And 20 years, what? It always seems like, I don't know, I suppose when you grow up with a band, you're thinking like, this is still kind of new music, right? But these guys would be like, these guys are old to other people now, I suppose. You know, there's kids now. You're like, Linkin Park, like, are old to them. I can't even fathom that. That's
we're older than that album. There's just
well, yes. But I hope so. If the album's older than me, then there's no way I'd be going, it feels so new. That just wouldn't happen. So, yeah, we won't beat around the bush too much. We're going to be talking about Hybrid Theory and Linkin Park. As your listeners, if you're listeners on YouTube, whatever we discuss, if it brings up any thoughts of your own about Linkin Park and Hybrid Theory, favorite songs, that kind of stuff, jump into the comments to let us know. And if you're listening to us on audio platforms, do touch base on social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at The Brothers Take. We'd love to hear from other Linkin Park fans and music fans in general, because we ourselves are very big Linkin Park fans. Adam, I'm going to have to come to you first. You're the oldest of us. And you definitely heard Linkin Park before we did. I think much like video games, me and Eric,
movies,
me and Eric just kind of follow Adam. Well, yeah, you're the oldest, so you would have been exposed to pop culture before us, and then growing up in the same house, it's pretty easy to get into the same stuff, I think. But I don't know. Do siblings generally get into the same stuff, or do they like? As a result, I hate that thing because you like it, so I like the opposite.
Probably, actually.
I don't know. How normal is
know.
let us know that too. Actually, if you have siblings, let us know how similar you are.
Siblings just elude me. I don't understand them.
Yeah, I hate them all, especially my own. But Adam, you wanna let us know what was your first time? What's your first memory of ever hearing a Linkin Park song?
I remember being in my friend's house, who would have been our neighbor at the time, and this is when we were watching. I suppose it was the first time I ever started watching like music videos on TV, and I think it was Kerrang at the time. And we were just watching a few, and then I remember my friend saying to me, "Oh yeah, this it was saying basically that the next song coming up was a new song by Linkin Park." And he said, "I think your dad would love these." I was like, "Oh, okay." So I'll listen to it. That was a weird thing to say, but okay, whatever. And then it was Crawling. So Crawling is the first song I've ever heard from Linkin Park. And the first time I ever heard it was through the music video. and I was just blown away. I couldn't believe it. I was immediately in love with this band, from that song. And it was the first, like, cause with like our dad, even like he did play a lot of music around us growing up.
Do you know it's funny as well, actually, just before you go further,
Yeah.
that little thing about like, oh, I'd say your dad will love these guys, right?
He does.
Growing up, yeah, I would have thought there's no way he'd like Linkin Park, and he does actually, and he does love that early stuff.
Yeah,
the neighbor was bang on.
he was. But yeah, like we grew up with, I suppose, listening to Springsteen, Simple Minds, Rolling Stones, and probably U2, I guess, would be the main ones I think that we're probably exposed to. And although I don't mind listening to some of those bands, I would never consider, like, I don't know if I actually have them in my music library.
All right, okay.
But if they came on, I would be like, yeah, like, because it brings back memories and stuff. So Linkin Park for me is the first band that, like, I identified as that's me, that's my music, I guess.
Yeah.
And I would have been, I suppose, 10 at the time, like, really young.
Yeah.
So I didn't really get like mad into music, I guess, until like teenage years when you start learning an instrument and stuff. But that would be the first time I was like really into a band. Got the new album and got every album since. But yeah, Crawling would have been the first.
Eric, jumping to you, the youngest of us, and your experience might be very different. Do you remember what the first Linkin Park song you heard was? And obviously, because you're growing up at you're at a different age, right? Like when Adam's 10, you're 6. There's no way you're into like music really yet, right? Maybe you are. I don't remember, but so it's possible your first memory of a Linkin Park song is not off Hybrid Theory, but maybe it is. I don't know.
I'm pretty sure first one was probably from Meteora.
Right.
I probably heard of through like Scuzz or something. It was probably, so I don't remember which one it was. Honestly, I don't.
Yeah.
But it was probably something like Somewhere I Belong or In the End or something like that. But again, it was just because like Adam would have been listening to music, which would have got you listening to music, which then was just all I ever heard. Like there was a stage we would have Scuzz from like 9 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night on all the time. Just waiting for Linkin Park songs to come on, which I think that would be where I first then would have probably heard things like Trivium and, well, not Metallica actually. I think Metallica would have just been Adam putting on a CD and playing it.
It was probably Hot Wheels Turbo Racing.
Hot Wheels Turbo Racing, baby.
Oh, sorry, yeah, Hot Wheels Turbo Racing.
We'll get into that. In another time, another episode.
Linkin Park, I suppose, for me, it was just like it wasn't really like I like identify this as my music. I was too young to care about that sort of stuff. But it would have just been almost my like way of life. Like I wake up and I breathe Linkin Park music right now. Probably what it was. And it just obviously
you were probably shocked to hear that there was other music out in the world.
Yeah, I would have. Yeah, it was.
It sounds different. I think the first Linkin Park song I can remember hearing is With You.
With me?
No, yeah, well, it was With You actually. No, I could hear it blaring out from your room.
Yeah.
And I distinctly remember that song. It's kind of weird because like that's a great song, but it wouldn't actually be like, I have no real nostalgia. Like that song doesn't have like an importance to me in that, oh, it's the first time I ever heard Linkin Park, and so it's up there in like my top 3 or something like that. Like I much prefer other songs that they've done, but I have like, that is the one that I first heard. And so I don't know at what point I then sat and listened to the whole album. But I mean, Hybrid Theory is one of those albums that's just so easy to throw on. Yeah, it shaped my interest in music, I would say, because from that, very like that, you could spiral in many directions once you've hit Hybrid Theory, right? It could either lead you down like this hip hop route, this sample route and stuff, or it could lead you down this like rock and hard rock and metal route. I went more that way. I mean, they were lumped in with the new metal scene. they weren't totally indicative of what new metal was, but they were lumped into that scene. And so it's very soon after you hear Linkin Park and you get into Linkin Park, you're being exposed to bands like Korn and Slipknot, Limp Bizkit, Deftones, Papa Roach. Once you jump into those, if you're able to embrace that heavier side as well, like Slipknot and Korn, then you're going to get exposed to even like other bands like, no, I'm not going to say heavier than Slipknot. But you're going to get exposed to then just metal. So like Trivium, Killswitch Engage. And so from Linkin Park, my entire music taste formed. Outside of like video game and movie soundtracks, that's kind of another side of taste of music. But just in terms of bands, it all came from Linkin Park. And nearly at every step of the way. So when they changed their sound, they exposed me to new sounds and new styles that I don't know, out of ignorance wouldn't try or something. When they started like adding electronica to their music, suddenly I was like, holy shit, synthesizers and guitars sound class. Who else does that? And now I'm trying
Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Marilyn Manson.
The whole way they shaped my taste in music.
Mhm.
And to this day, my absolute favorite band. Like, 100%.
Same, absolutely. Like it was probably one of the happier times of my life, I guess, was the Hybrid Theory era. I know that sounds kind of shitty, but like you said, there was hip hop people listening to this album. There was metal people listening to this album. There was just rock people listening to this album. There was pop people listening to this album. This album is all of them. Like, this album has elements of rock, elements of hip hop. It is a pop album. Like, in the end, it's a pop song.
Yeah.
But everyone, like, at least at my age, everyone really liked this album, and everyone appreciated the songs and stuff like that. There was no one telling you your music is shit. That was the first time in my life I've ever experienced not having to defend the band I like.
Yeah.
After
that didn't last.
That didn't last. No.
But you know what? You know what's funny as well about that is like Hybrid Theory as an album, and like, I mean, it's broken so many records, and it was one of the fastest selling, new albums by any band in the 21st century. Like, it's done ridiculous things. But like, I don't think I've met anyone who dislikes that album, even if they hate Linkin Park. I have actually, like, there's people I know where I was like, man, I really don't like Linkin Park. They're not for me. But they will say, they go, but Hybrid Theory is a great album. Like, it's like, I find it undeniable that they just struck gold on their first entry. Like, there's just, everything clicked, and I don't know what it was. They just found this amazing chemistry between Mike's rapping, Chester's harsh vocals, Joe's sampling, Brad's fucking guitar work, and Rob's fucking awesome drumming. Phoenix actually wasn't in the recording on that first album.
No.
But he did come in later on. I mean, their bass lines are always awesome too. But yeah, they just struck gold. Whatever it was, the right people at the right time, kind of a thing. I don't know. But there's a good friend of mine who was a hip hop fan his whole life, and he knew I was into Linkin Park, but he hadn't tried them out or anything like that. I suppose his exposure to Linkin Park would have been Numb Encore, Jay-Z.
Oh yeah.
And he would have been familiar with What I've Done from the Transformers thing, maybe In the End, if you'd heard it. But he had no idea this, like, the deeper root stuff that Linkin Park had. He didn't know anything really about like the heavier side or any of that stuff. And I said, man, I'm going to tell you something now. I've never met anyone who didn't like Hybrid Theory after hearing it. And he was like, that's a bold claim, man. That's a bold claim. He said, I'm going to try it. So he listened to that album. We were going to download that year because Linkin Park were performing at it, headlining at it, and we're going to be performing all of Hybrid Theory live for the first and unfortunately last time, right? He said, I'm buying a ticket after he listened to the album. He had no interest in Linkin Park other than that. And he came to download with us. And I was like, man, I hope like, this is going to be, like, there's a lot of heavy bands. Like, there's going to be a lot of... And he was like, I don't care, man. I'm going. I want to hear Cure for the Itch live.
Wow.
That's the other thing. I think, like that, it's such a diverse album.
Mm.
There's something on there, I think, for everyone. For him, and, like, I'm not, like, surprised by it. But at the same time, it's interesting because most people do say, "Oh, it's one step closer. It's crawling. It's in the end." "Cure for the Itch" was his favorite song. He fucking loved it. Absolutely loved it. Right? Because it was so sample heavy. But as well, it's after all that like scratching and all, and it's like, let's try something else. And that really fucking cool melody kicks in.
Yeah.
He was like, that's the absolute, that's it for me. Like, you know? I just thought it was so fucking cool because it makes it so accessible to so many different people. That to me is interesting. I've never heard anyone say that album, Cure for the Itch, I want to see them. I want to see it live. You know what I mean? And they probably, I don't know if Cure for the Itch was ever played live other than that.
I think it could have been used as like interlude or as in like parts of it kind of thing, but I don't think definitely not the whole thing.
No.
But even down to, apart from just the music, like the album art, I suppose the style of the band, like, you know, like every band has like almost like an outfit nearly, like how they look.
Yeah.
And the style of the band is all like that. That was the era of like like everyone was skateboarding, like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and all this kind of stuff. Like it was just so fucking popular. Like everything about them was popular, not just the music. It was the artwork. It was the like his tattoo. How many people ended up with his tattoos? Like Chester's tattoos.
You know what I mean? I can't help it. Yeah, again at that concert at Download, they were. It was In the End, right? They were performing In the End, and Mike always comes down into the crowd for In the End, you know, and he sings with a crowd of people and he high fives a bunch of people and stuff. And there was one guy there who had Chester's tattoos, and he went, whoa, hold on, get a camera. Put up your hands if you've got Chester's tattoos, right? Loads of people went crazy. Right? Okay, if you don't have Chester's tattoos, put your hands down. So loads of people put their hands down, and there's this guy with and they got them up on the cameras, and he was like, man, that's fucking awesome, you know? It's so cool that they spotted that as well. But yeah, you're right. How many people did get those tattoos? They became kind of iconic. And it's weird though, everyone was dressed that way and everything about them was popular, but they weren't emulating anyone. It's like they were ahead.
Some people would say they were. I don't think we kind of followed the band and we know the band, like we be watching whether it's their blogs or interviewing and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like they were. I remember the same friend actually that introduced me to Linkin Park. Funny enough, within a couple of months of the album releasing, ended up like hating the band.
Right.
Not because he did songs.
Yeah.
Because he was able to name all the songs and he was able to say like Points of Authority is a good song, but I don't like the band. And if you ask him why doesn't he not like the band, it's like I'm more into the garage band kind of guys who got together and started. I don't like the idea that some studio put them together and made them.
This was a big.
That was a huge rumor that was going around that like because the new metal scene was so popular, that studios were pretty much just constructing a band with a formula, and it was because Linkin Park was so successful that it's like that. Well, that was obviously the case, I guess.
But that was fueled
and it just wasn't true.
In some cases, that was happening, right? Evanescence.
Yeah. Evanescence.
Right? They weren't put together for that. But the song "Bring Me to Life," which is their most popular song, and people do love it. I think it's a great song. So it was actually probably a good move by the studio or whatever. But they said, we want you to put a rapper on this song. We wanted to have that kind of rap rock thing. And if you don't do that, then we're like canceling your deal or whatever. And they really didn't want to do it. And then in the end kind of gave up, you know, and it's not really a rap vocal, but they had that kind of back and forth thing. Like they didn't want a male singer on that at all. Yeah. As a result, it did really well. They were right. It was a good strategy and a good move. But it does go to show that that was happening. You know, there were bands getting
even
told.
Papa Roach, like even today, he will say, what's his name?
Jacoby?
Yeah. Like he says that, like, he was absolutely aware that was the popular thing to do and that he could easily emulate it. And he admits that. And he's like, it's fine because I am where I am now and I'm able to make the music I want to make now. We're a name. We're able to, you know, headline shows now, or at least support big shows. But he's like, I'm not embarrassed by that, and I don't care because a lot of people love that album and we're proud of it and stuff like that. Yeah. So, yeah, like I think because there were so many bands coming out at the same time that like were doing that, it's easy to point the finger at Linkin Park. But if you look back to when they were originally called Hybrid Theory, you know,
Hmm.
they were playing small shows
And even
before they got
Zero
signed.
before that.
They were already doing this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even
And
Mike
actually,
says
with
in one
the
of his songs, rap and hip hop have collaborated for years. That he grew up with rock and hip hop. That this was something that he was wanting to do anyway.
yeah,
It's just a happy accident that everyone else was too.
yeah, it is. Like mashups are his thing. That's why it's
Yeah.
like when Jay-Z rang him up, and people always think that went a different way too.
Yeah.
MTV asked Jay-Z, "Hey, we're wanting to do this sort of like MTV style series thing where once a week there'll be two artists that collaborate, and then the following week it'll be like a series like with different artists who collaborate. It's gonna be cool." And they asked Jay-Z. Obviously, Jay-Z's huge, right? Especially at that time. Jay-Z's massive. He was like the biggest rapper in the world. So they asked him, "Who would you like to collaborate with?" And he said Linkin Park. And then they were, "What? Okay, sure." Like obviously they weren't expecting that. They were probably expecting Beyonce or someone. Anyway, so he rings up Mike Shinoda and goes, "Hey, we're talking about doing this thing about mashups and all." And Mike was like, "Ha ha ha ha! Yeah, we're gonna do that." He said,
he does
"We're
that as
not
a
gonna
hobby.
do one song. We're not gonna do one song. We're gonna do like what 6 songs, and we're gonna
Yeah.
make sure that they fucking never follow it up." And they didn't. That
Yeah,
6 songs he came out.
it
They
never
didn't do
continued,
anymore.
did it?
No,
Yeah.
yeah,
He
because
just
he was like,
broke their whole idea.
he was like, "Yeah, we got this." Because then like a day later, he sent on like 4 demos to Jay-Z, and Jay-Z was like, "Holy shit, these sound great." And actually, that album does sound really good. If you're into both artists, it's a really good mashup. Like,
Yeah, it's done well.
it's
But
done really
they're
well.
always like, I mean, that is always the thing with Linkin Park, because if you look at them, they work their fucking arse off to get to where they are and what they're doing and staying relevant, I guess.
Mhm.
And it's easy to assume that they're just handed shit.
Yeah.
Like that Jay-Z thing, it was Jay-Z who said I wanted to collaborate. It wasn't like,
A lot of people don't. Yeah, people
Yeah.
don't realize that they have assumptions about how it went down.
yeah, and even their success is all to do with them. And the Transformer song, then a lot of people would make the assumption, oh well, you know, they were scoped out for that song, and you know, just because they're popular or they paid to be in it and stuff. No, there was a competition among a lot of bands to write the song for Transformers, and
Yeah.
they were going up against, I think, Fall Out Boy and who was the other band?
I'm not even sure.
Yeah, there was
But I know
there
that
was like
Mike
five
and
or
Joe
six
were
different bands.
huge fans of Hasbro, the toys, like,
Yeah,
and they were like, "Oh
Uh,
man, I'd love to have our song in that because I remember
so-
those toys."
so they
Yeah.
wrote like 5 different demos, and then amongst the band, they all kind of, you know, edited down and chose a favorite. And they had different code names for each song, and
Well, that
they
was
were all
for
named after.
See, what's interesting there is that was for New Divide, right?
Yeah.
So for the first Transformers movie, what I've done, right? I'd obviously already written that for the Minutes to Midnight album,
Yeah.
and it was just one of many songs that Michael Bay, I
chosen.
suppose, heard from different bands that went, "I'd love to include that in my movie," and they were like, "Cool, yeah, we like that, advertise, include it." What's so interesting is he didn't just come back to them then,
No.
for the second one, but they entered that competition to go, "We want this, like, we want to be the theme song."
Yeah.
And then as a result, when it came to the third one, this time he did just come to them and go, "Hey guys, if you've got anything for this one, because the last 2 were fucking glass, like, you know." But yeah, it's fucking interesting. I want to point out something. The first concert I ever went to was Linkin Park, right? The best concert I ever went to was Linkin Park.
2 separate concerts though, wasn't it?
2 separate concerts. And me and Eric were at Chester's last ever concert.
That's fucking mental. That's mental.
It is mental, because I remember we came back, was it like a week later?
Not just one of their last concerts, like the last concert.
Yeah, we were at the last one in Birmingham.
That's
I have
mental.
the ticket framed. Me and Eric were rehearsing for like a sketch show we were doing, and what was it? Like, one of the guys said it to us. They had just
Yeah,
seen
one
it or
of them.
something. One of them said it to us, and we were like, "No, that's not true. That's not true." And I was like, at the time I was joking, right? Because I thought they were taking the piss. And I was like, "I just saw him last week. He was fine." And fucking, like as it became confirmed by
Mhm.
looking at our phones, we were trying to do comedy. I wasn't able to do it. I wasn't able to rehearse. All I want to do is go home. I was like, I'm really, and then like the guys were like making jokes. I was like, I'm just not in the mood, guys. I'm not in the mood. It hit me so hard. I couldn't believe it. Because we had seen them and we'd been there the whole way and grown up with them. And I was always the next thing I was always looking forward to was that next Linkin Park album. I was like, I can't wait to hear the next one, and that's going to be what's on repeat. I couldn't believe it. But it's just so interesting. They're one of the bands I've seen the most live, and I would have gone to see so much more. I actually I hope they continue or find a way to do it, obviously in a respectful way, but because I just think the rest of them are also so talented and they have such a legacy in music. I would like to see a way for them to continue. I had a bit of hope when I saw I went to see Queen live.
Oh, and they had the new singer.
They had a singer on with them, right? But they just said Queen featuring this guy. So he's not on the band, right?
Yeah.
But he's a talented singer, a talented performer. Obviously, that's a case where like you're like, well, you can't replace Freddie Mercury, right?
Mhm.
Freddie Mercury is one of the greatest singers ever, especially in rock. But they put on a great show, and at the same time, in between the songs, it was Brian May who was doing the talking to the crowd through the mic and stuff, and so no one was taking the spotlight away from who the band were and who wrote the songs.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I could see like if Linkin Park toured featuring someone, and maybe they've got their new material where Mike does the singing. He's become a very talented singer at this point and a very good frontman. But there's a respectful way for them to continue and still pay homage to all their material and stuff.
Yeah. It's a tricky one because like there's so many bands that had new singers, like whether it's Black Sabbath with Dio or Killswitch Engage that like switched from Jesse to Howard and Howard back to Jesse. There's something like each of them were able to do their own thing that worked so well.
Yeah.
Like when you hear Dio on Black Sabbath, it doesn't feel out of place, and when you hear Howard with Killswitch, obviously it doesn't seem out of place because that's what made them famous, I guess.
Yeah.
But Jesse came back to do it, even singing Howard stuff. It's his own take, but still like works. It doesn't feel like someone else singing it. It actually feels right.
Yeah.
So it's trying to do that, but Chester was such a unique voice.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you not in terms of ability, but like with James Hetfield, for example, you can tell when someone's trying to emulate James Hetfield.
Yeah, of course.
If someone tries to sing in James's place, it doesn't have the same like it's like how do you do your own thing also without emulating? And I feel like that's going to be the issue with not replacing Chester, but being in his place for future songs.
Yeah. No, it's a tricky one, all right. I mean, yeah, like Chester was just so diverse in what he could do just on that one album alone. Hybrid, like and if you follow the career, he showed off so much more. But on Hybrid Theory alone, he screams like a demon and sings like an angel, like and seamlessly, and you're just like, holy fuck, you know what I mean? Like, how can you hold a torch to this guy?
And he's definitely one of my favorite like fry screamers.
Yeah,
because you can get a lot of screamers where it's got a lot of texture to it, but not clarity. And he was able to like you can hear everything that he's screaming.
It was like we were saying, our dad has actually got into Linkin Park, and it wasn't even the more poppy stuff later on. It's like those first 3 albums, right? Even though Minutes to Midnight is very different to Meteor and Hybrid Theory, but they would be his favorite Linkin Park albums. Like he could listen to Hybrid Theory no problem, and like he's watched some live concerts with us and stuff. Like I remember even the Project Revolution one, Road to Revolution. He'd be watching that, and he was like, nobody can scream like him, can they? And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, because when he screams, I don't mind it, and I understand what he's saying. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It just registered or something. I don't know. And like one of the big complaints, like I love screaming in music, and I think it's an incredible talent. But one of the big complaints of people who don't like it is that
it's just
one of the
noise.
persons says, I don't understand what they're saying. It's just noise. you just can't say that about Chester. His scream had such clarity.
Yeah.
He screamed with notes. It's fucking incredible. And I've seen him do that thing in like warm-ups where he like starts off by singing, and he gets to a high note, and then it just transitions into a scream, and then he transitions back down to singing without stopping. And I'm like, how the fuck do you do that? That's crazy.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, before we go any further, I think we all miss Chester. May he rest in peace. I think we were all very hurt and saddened.
Yeah, I've never been
By his
bummed out
loss.
by a celebrity death
As much as that.
as much as that. Like, obviously, there's a lot you're going to miss. Like, and I suppose you may not get it. A lot of people may not understand. It's like, well, why would you
didn't
care?
know him, right? We didn't know him.
You didn't know him. Like, a lot of people feel that way now about the death of Chadwick for the Black Panther films and stuff like
Right.
that. And it's a similar thing. It's like, well, like there's loads of people saying, don't you dare replace him. And that'd be a hard one to replace as well.
Yeah.
But it's just like, if you don't understand why someone is affected by it, just know that it's because you've grown up with them. They've become your favorite in whatever thing they're doing, art they're doing, genre they're doing, and you hear their next evolution. That's the bit I think is really like, obviously, well, for us, like, for me anyway, obviously there's the whole thing with, okay, his wife is affected, his children's affected, his bandmates are affected. That's on a much more personal level. But for me, my connection was obviously the music, and I didn't really like the last album, so for me it's like such a pity to hear him go without hearing what's the next thing, I guess.
Yeah. Anything you want to add to that, Eric?
I think, because you were saying about when you were rehearsing that you weren't able to rehearse, I don't think it hit me until I myself saw the news compared to you, like a day or two later. I think I was standing on the stairs, I was coming down the stairs, and you came up to me from the kitchen or something like that, and it was there that we compared the information. That's when it hit me. So yeah, like, I didn't mind last time. I actually the last album did grow on me. It's not not the best one. Like, it started off so strong, but yeah, it's the fact that there is that moment where I'd almost not be surprised if they didn't come back together.
Yeah,
I want them to, but I do think that they like, it is such a loss of a friend for them that they might not, which would be so shit.
Yeah,
because they were just such a talent. And yeah, like, honestly, when people go for Linkin Park, they don't, like whoever it is, when they're putting on a Linkin Park song, they don't put on the new stuff. They put on the old stuff. They put on In the End. They put on Crawling. They put on Numb. Like, that's the stuff they put on because that's the shit that defined them and everything. You know what I mean? So
there's not much more I can add to that. We're gonna miss Chester, miss his music. I do hope Linkin Park find a way to continue, but just emulating what you say, Eric, if they don't owe it to anyone. They don't have to.
No.
What I will say is, I found great catharsis in myself and my girlfriend went to see Mike Shinoda's solo tour. We went twice, and it's an incredible experience. Not just because you get to hear some of the B-sides and he's a great performer, but there's moments where it's just him and a piano and him in the crowd singing Linkin Park stuff together and just acknowledging and kind of celebrating Chester's music, and that I found that really cathartic and it was really beautiful. So anyway, let's get back to celebrating Hybrid Theory. We've given Chester the shout out. We miss him. But Hybrid Theory is 20 years old. Holy shit. Time to ask Eric some burning questions. Eric, what's your favorite song off of Hybrid Theory? It had to
Have
come.
you seen, because there was a
a
Hybrid Theory 20th anniversary edition, wasn't there?
Yeah, I bought it.
I've got pre-ordered, man.
Pre-ordered.
Yeah. Have you seen the box?
Yeah.
It's fucking huge.
Yeah,
There's
so much
some great shit in there.
I see, like, because I was watching Mike Shinoda open it. I was like, fucking hell.
That's what I pre-ordered, yeah. I can't wait for it. Like the
Favorite
fucking,
song? No,
there's all like rare demos and shit coming. I can't fucking wait.
That's now what two copies. I might frame that Hyper Theory.
Yeah. Just you might as well have one up on a wall. I have one
Yeah.
there. Actually, you got it for me, Adam, and
Yep.
the vinyl and stuff. Yeah, this thing. I don't even have a vinyl player, but I just wanted to kind of hold up. It's like this is. It's not even. I gotta put it out there. Hyper Theory is not even my favorite album of all time. Right? I actually there's another album I do prefer, for very different reasons. But I hold it up there as the album that got me into music. And for that reason, it has a very important nostalgic place for me. But yeah, let's talk favorite Hybrid Theory tracks.
Woo 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 woo.
And then let's argue about it, which is the best one. It's Cure for the Itch.
You're proud of that.
Eric, I gotta start with you because you love these favorite questions.
Yeah, I do. I will actually probably go one step closer.
Yeah, man. I mean, do you know what? Here's the thing. No matter which song you say,
you're right. Unless it's Cure for the Itch.
That's a great song. One Step Closer. Yeah, the first ever single. Wasn't that the one everyone then thought the whole album would sound like that? So when they heard rap the next time around, they were like, "This is bullshit. They sold out, man." Even though it's like,
well, I felt that way with like because remember the first one I heard was Crawling, and then it was One Step Closer, and then it was Paper Cut, right?
Right.
And I was like, I loved all three of them. I was like, this is so fucking cool. It was so like so heavy. Like even Paper Cut, I know it's mostly rap, but it's still heavy.
Oh, it's fast paced and shit. Yeah.
It's when I heard In the End, I was the fuck is this shit? How's this pussy music? I love it now, but at the time I was like, I don't know about this song.
So One Step Closer for you, Eric. That one's a solid hit. I don't think they've ever played a show as well without One Step Closer on the set list. It's definitely one of their more popular songs.
One to get you pumped.
Absolutely, 100%. And one of the first songs I ever learned on bass guitar when I was into playing bass guitar way back when. Yeah, that's solid. Adam, have you got a favorite? Oh, actually, Eric, have you do any other songs come close before we move on to Adam? So if One Step Closer is like the number one for you, is there any other ones that are up there? Is
the rest of the album?
Yeah. Yeah.
No soundtrack.
I don't know if I have 5-star. I was just going through, like I have on that album.
Yeah.
I have them all rated as 5 stars except for 3 songs. That's it.
Is Cure for the Itch one of them? Because if it is, you're fucking wrong, man. That's
Cure for the Itch is one of them.
Can I guess what the other two are?
Yeah.
By Myself?
No.
Oh shit. I don't know then.
One more guess. Come on.
One more guess. Forgotten?
Yep.
I'm surprised. I prefer Forgotten to By Myself, actually.
Okay. That's just your opinion, man.
Man, you're just wrong, okay?
One more.
One more. In the End?
Nope.
Points.
That grew on. Yeah, points. Points of authority.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit, what the fuck, man?
Yeah,
Okay.
that never really gravitated to me like as much as the other songs.
As much as
now,
everyone's-
those
Now, 4
three
stars,
those three are 4 stars.
Yeah. You're not saying they're bad.
No,
right?
they're not bad. They're just not top tier for me.
So what would be your favorite of the 5-star ones? Give us your top 3
My top 3. Shit.
songs. Give us your top 3. I can give you my top 9.
Top 3. My favorite is One Step Closer. I'll just put that out there. Off that album, it is one step closer.
You two are in agreement. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just love playing that as well on the guitar.
Yeah, it's fun.
And when I was in that like school band, I guess, that is one of the ones that we played, at our local kind of gigs. Was One Step Closer, and it was great, and it was a great crowd pleaser. Like the crowd fucking loved it too, which is fun.
One Step Closer is just an easy pleaser at a rock gig or a metal gig as well, isn't it? Because it's like even if we hate Linkin Park, we can agree on this. We can mosh to this. So, yeah.
Crawling, absolutely, definitely, because it's the one that got me into Linkin Park. The weird thing about Crawling though for me is the reason it's not my favorite is I don't think that ever sounds good live as it does on the album. There's just there's a lot of layering on that track on the
It's an
album.
incredibly well produced song.
Yeah.
You know that way. It's
That
like,
when you remove some of those layers in a live setting, I think it really, it lacks something. Even in Chester's vocals, I don't think he can sing that live. I think that's one of the songs, the only song that they have
I'm
ever
pretty
done
sure
that he
there's
can't do.
I'm pretty sure there's an interview where he says that.
He hates that song. Like he
doesn't really
hates
like
doing
it
it
as well.
live because it's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
one note
Yeah,
the whole
yeah,
way
yeah,
through,
Yeah, he's not
and he's
keen
supposed
on
to
that.
scream it the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do love it. And I'll probably say "Pushing Me Away," last song on the album,
Mm.
as the third place for me.
Solid. That one gets overlooked a lot.
Such a great way to end the album too.
Especially if you've listened to the whole way through.
Yeah.
That song feels even better, feels even stronger
Yeah,
than when you just have it come up on shuffle on its own.
and it's
Yeah.
the only last song on any album ever for me
Yeah.
that feels like a satisfying conclusion.
Really?
Yeah, like I've heard so many albums where I'm like, either they're too long that I'm just like, just fucking end, or that when it ends I'm like, shit, I really wish it had a better
Yeah, I wish there was
end to the
one
album.
more.
Yeah. Whereas that's the only song that I can recall anyway at the moment that, when I get to it and then it's over, I'm like, wow, that was
That
fun.
was great.
Let's
do it
do that again.
Yeah. The album is so easy to listen to. For
Yeah.
me, the top three, and again, this is like, I love every fucking song on the album, right? So this is not like when I name three, that means I hate the rest. Number one is Paper Cut.
That is the
Every
first song.
Yeah.
Number
Number
two is
two-
One Step Closer.
time. No, but for me, Paper Cut is absolutely number one every time. Gets me pumped every time.
Yeah, it's cool.
Absolutely love it. Number two, A Place for My Head. I fucking love A Place for My Head. It's
Yeah.
such a good song, and when it's played live, it's crazy. It's insane.
Yeah,
it's,
it is
It's
good.
the most insane thing you'll ever experience. People are going nuts. And then number three, Pushing Me Away. I fucking love that song. And there's even a piano melody version of it that he did. Do you remember that? That
Yeah.
Mike did. And it's incredible.
Do you know
So-
the show that you went to is probably the only time they've ever played that song properly.
Which Pushing Me Away?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
That
nearly
was great.
every time they play it, it's always a variant of "Pushing Me Away."
Honestly, I've been to a lot of concerts, and that concert was just like the best. And I don't know if it was because you were with so many people, like so many thousands of people outdoors on a sunny day who were there for that. So
Yeah.
everyone was just in agreement that this is amazing. You know what I mean? The songs were so good, they were so good, and then you had this huge, like at Download, you just have a huge lineup of bands that you wanted to see for so long. Killswitch Engage were on that day. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And fucking Bring Me the Horizon were on that day.
Fucking hell.
Like there were so many bands that I was into at that time as well. That I was just like, I had no voice for like 6 days. I think 2 days later we went to see Trivium as well, and I was like, this is crazy.
Holy shit.
2 days, a couple of days before that, before I went to Download, went to see Dolly Parton. I had the most insane week ever. I was like, what the fuck? I saw Dolly Parton, a Dying Fetus, and Killswitch Engage, Linkin Park, a Fall Out Boy, and fucking Trivium all in the space of a couple of days. And I was like, I'm concerted out. Like, I've seen it all. Yeah, okay. So those are our favorite Hybrid Theory songs. I think it's very clear that we're all big Linkin Park fans. Just before we close out,
Sadly.
just before we close out this bonus, what's your favorite Linkin Park song in general?
I was about
Yeah,
to ask that. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
I did
like,
it.
I wasn't going to ask that.
I don't want to know
I want to
that.
know, Eric. What's your favorite Linkin Park song
What is
ever?
your what's your favorite Linkin Park member?
I actually knew
What's
you
your
were gonna ask that
favorite Linkin Park
I don't-
guitar tuning?
Do you like the drop D, or do you? What's your favorite Johan scratch sound?
Oh, that one.
I like that one as well. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
pretty sick. Yeah, that was a really good impression with your mouth there.
Thank you.
Somebody hire this guy.
That's all he does, isn't he? I think the disc is just for show.
Yeah, it's not plugged in.
Yeah,
Wait, he thinks it is?
Does everything else.
They're like, yeah, Joe, what you're doing is great, man. Yeah, you keep doing that. And I'm joking, by the way. if you remove him, those
It's not
like
him. That's him.
no, like those songs live. There's a lot of shit that he's doing that I don't think people realize is like really at the song. But yeah, what would be your favorite Linkin Park song off the top of your head, or that comes to mind right now?
We not done this question before.
Linkin
No.
Park.
Well, probably off recording, yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, okay.
we did a little kind of chart thing before, didn't we?
Tier list, we did, yeah.
Yeah, we did,
We did a
yeah, I
tier
remember
list.
that. And I'm pretty sure I said the Catalyst.
Oh,
Good song.
Yeah,
Good song.
that's a great song. It's a fucking great song.
It's like it's so good.
It is.
It is so
It's
good.
epic.
Yeah,
Epic.
it has the build up. It hits all the right notes. It plays instruments. It's great.
You're on it.
And I would say that song sounds better live than it does on the CD.
Oh.
Oh.
I don't know about that.
I don't know about you.
I will say when it gets to the piano bit, the piano bridge, that like the.
I just think Brad's guitar sounds so gnarly live.
You got a favorite Linkin Park song, Adam?
Yeah, New Divide.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
New Divide's a great song. Anyone who says otherwise is wrong. It's a great song.
It is a fantastic
Fucking
song.
amazing song.
That's poetry with music. That's what that is.
It's annoying that like it's I suppose it's overlooked because it's never it's not on any album. It's on none of the albums.
Yeah.
So the only way you can get it is as a single. But that means like I have all the records.
Yeah.
But I can't have my favorite song on record.
Right. Someone's got to find a vinyl of just New Divide and get it over to Adam at prompto.
And when we were doing the I think it was shared with Linkin Park Underground or something like that, or the LP Street Soldiers or something on Twitter.
Yeah.
They did the whole you know,
She's really choking you
tier,
up, man.
yeah, the tier favorite song tiered
Yeah.
list thing where you
Yeah.
kind of eventually come down to your favorite. And New Divide wasn't there on that list at all, so
Yeah,
I wasn't even able to
kinda
put in
raged
my
about that.
favorite.
There was a couple of songs that weren't there that I was like, they absolutely should be.
Yeah,
This seems a little bit of an unfair. And there was a couple of songs that I was like, if you have to remove some, that one should be gone.
yeah. I think for
the
that
grand
then
scheme
once
of
I did the tier thing, I think One Step Closer became my favorite.
Right.
But
yeah.
if New Divide was there, it would have been New Divide.
For me, it does change depending on my mood and what I'm like. You know what I mean? Like sometimes
That's a
there's
cop out
also-
answer.
Yeah,
no,
you can't do that. I'm not allowed to do that. You
Hold on.
can't do that.
Hold on, I am going to give an answer, but what I'm saying is it does change. But more often than not, one of the ones I come back to is Faint of Meteora.
Oh yeah,
I think
yeah.
yeah, because it's such a hype song. But I think as well in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds, which I think is the basic length of that song, they show you exactly everything that they're good at.
Yeah.
Everything.
And
Like, from that
live,
fucking really
it's
catchy
like 12 minutes long.
Oh yeah, they extend it and it's fucking awesome. But like yeah, you get that really catchy synth, those great guitars come in, the rap verse is fucking awesome. Pass it over to Chester's cool rock chorus, you know, and then you get to that screamy bridge, and then you go out again on the anthem, and it's a very jumpy, like it's one of the more energetic songs. They do great slow numbers, but I think they're at their best when they're giving it energy.
Yeah.
And serving the song, you know. But yeah, it does change, but Faint is one I tend to come back to. And it's one I do show a lot of people when they say, what are Linkin Park like? I say, check out Faint quite often. Even though there are loads of other stuff that they do. Like, it's kind of hard to pick the one song you're like, that will show you exactly what Linkin Park's catalog is like. You nearly need to go, check out this album. Or check out my playlist that I made for you.
I think that's why I would probably show New Divide personally, because New Divide has so much of where they've come from plus where they're going in that song.
Yeah, but as well, what's interesting is I think everyone's going to latch onto different songs from them because of their varied styles. Like, so for example, my girlfriend, her favorite Linkin Park song is "Waiting for the End," because she just loves the kind of.
It's a good song.
Yeah, it's an amazing
Great song.
But she loves the harmonies and the back and forth between Chester and Mike on that song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're gonna like. It depends what you're into, because like she's into a lot of folky stuff and like harmonizing and stuff, and so that song really clicked with her. You know what I mean? It's like and then again, my friend, Girl for the Itch, That was his jam. He was just really into the sampling and shit and that. It could be anything. But I suppose to finish off this bonus then, we want to say happy birthday, Hybrid Theory, and thank you for getting us into such amazing music. I'm looking forward. The package hasn't arrived yet, but when it comes, I am looking very forward to unboxing the 20th Anniversary Collector's Edition.
Mhm.
But if you've enjoyed this episode, you're watching this on YouTube, maybe give it a thumbs up, hit subscribe so you can see when our next videos come out. We're putting out stuff weekly, and we do bonuses every so often when we're inspired to do one. And often they're video game related, but they're not always. But more importantly, because we want to have discussions, jump into the comments. Let us know, what's your favorite Hybrid Theory Linkin Park song? What's your earliest memory of hearing Hybrid Theory? And then what's your favorite Linkin Park song in general? And if you want to share some memories or share some love of Chester, feel free to do so. And then if you're listening to us on audio platforms, get in touch on social media. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, @TheBrothersTake. We'd love to hear from you guys. We'd love to hear your stories, your memories, any pictures you have of concerts you've been to, whatever it is, share them with us. We'd love to hear it. Thanks again for listening, and we'll be talking to you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye now.